unconcerned. I had hurriedly dressed, my head still clouded by the events of the previous few days. Callum claimed to have scheduled a visit with a doctor on my behalf. Although I had no idea what to expect, I knew I had to do it. I had to take responsibility for the growing baby in my womb. This was the first time I had ever looked at my reflection in the mirror. I sighed and smoothed down my blouse as my dark hair tangled around my shoulders. Even though I no longer gave a damn about how I looked, I still wanted to feel put together. Everything that was weighing on me was getting to be too much, so I had to cling to what little strength I still had. I forced Greta from my mind for the moment, but she was still there. I couldn't allow myself to become sidetracked. Not today. I needed to concentrate because I had to go to the clinic. After a few more seconds of contemplation, I left my room and headed to the hall. Without listening to me, Callum was idly browsing through his phone while seated on the couch. With hesitation, I came to a stop in front of him. "I'm going to the clinic," I said softly, trying to sound normal. I said it even though I wasn't sure if he would even notice. He kept his head down. He simply nodded and carried on scrolling without showing any emotion. "All right," he answered. I was surprised by how hard his lack of interest struck me. Something more was what I had hoped. A grin, a quick look, anything that showed his concern. On the contrary, he appeared utterly disinterested. My heart sank as I stood there for a while, but I had to stop thinking about it. I needed to leave. I tried to fill the silence. "I appreciate you making the appointment for me," I said in the hopes that he would hear how sincere I was. Callum, however, looked up at me with icy eyes rather than reacting as I had hoped. His voice came out flat, his lips barely parted. "You don't have to give me credit. It's simply what mates do." Mates. The word kept repeating in my mind, making me feel insignificant. His words hurt me, but I wasn't sure why. He was merely my mate and nothing else. My chest tightened as I stared at him, and then I spoke, my voice trembling a little. "Just your mate," I said again. "Callum, whatever does that mean?" The hurt those words caused me seemed to go unnoticed by him. With a sigh, he set his phone aside. "Aurora, I told you before, no strings attached to us. The father of your child is someone else, not me. I'm just your mate. You are not under my control. My purpose is to look after you, and you just have to act my Luna." His remarks were like a face slap. Why he had to be so cold made my heart bleed. Why he was unable to show a little more concern. Instead, I stood there with my hands shaking at my sides, in stunned silence. I forced myself, holding back the tears that threatened to spill. I didn't want to cry. In front of him, I coughed weakly. "All right," I muttered, my voice barely audible. "I'm going now." Without waiting for him to continue, I turned and left the room. I had to get out before I totally lost it. The cool air hit me as soon as I stepped outside, and I tried to control my breathing. I felt as if my heart was splitting in two and my hands were trembling. I made an effort to concentrate on the drive to the clinic, but all I could think about was what he had said, his rejection and his lack of concern. I was numb as we drove to the clinic, though I wasn't sure how long it took. But I felt I needed to be somewhere else other than the clinic to keep my mind busy. "To the cafe," I instructed the driver. Callum's aloofness was all I could think of, the way he had gazed at me as if I didn't exist. I felt disoriented and unsure of what to do as we took a bend to the Cafe M. Everything seemed to be falling apart, and I was unable to put it all back together. This was just me. Nobody paid any attention. Not even Callum. I briefly stood outside to enjoy the fresh air, but it made no difference. There was no help. Though I wasn't sure if I could face him again, I still wanted to go home. I wasn't sure if I could put up with his attitude any longer. I had to leave the pack because I couldn't stand being around him in this state, but the decision would be difficult to make. I was still hesitant to go into the cafe. Not while I feel like my chest is heavy. I was walking in a senseless way, unsure of my direction as I pushed the door open. I simply had to get away from Al, this thoughts for a short time. Finally, I found myself at a little space on the cafe. As I placed my coffee order, the barista smiled at me and I returned the smile with a tiny one. I sat by the window and gazed out at the bustling street after getting my drink. If you wanted to hide from the world for a short time, this was the ideal place. My thoughts kept returning to Callum as I sat there trying to find some peace. What he said? He was icy. The way he treated me as if I were merely an annoyance. It was hard for me to understand. When he knew he loved Greta, he shouldn't have agreed to his father's terms then. Trying to ignore the thoughts, I put my hands around the warm cup. I was done thinking about him. I just needed a chance to catch my breath. But I knew in my heart that I couldn't stop it now as I gazed out the window. I would eventually have to confront him once more, and I wasn't sure if I was prepared for that. Not quite yet. "Take me to the clinic," I said into my phone, speaking to the driver at the clinic. When I got there, it was too quiet in the clinic. I tried to relax as I sat in the waiting room. He had been nice, though, to arrange for I and my baby's treatment. A woman in a white coat came out from the office as I heard the door open. She was older, and her warm smile and gentle eyes made me feel a little more at ease. "Luna Aurora." My throat went dry as I nodded. "Welcome. Come in." She gestured for me to enter, and I did so and went with her to her office. It had a cozy chair, soft lighting, and was compact. She motioned for me to take a seat. "Make yourself comfortable, please, Luna," she said politely. "I'm Dr. Miller. I'm here to make sure your pregnancy is going well," she said and smiled warmly at me. Even though I sat down to listen to her, my thoughts kept returning to Callum. Thinking about the baby or what would happen next was the last thing I wanted to do because I felt lost and unsure about everything. Dr. Miller took a seat across from me and began going through papers on a clipboard. "How are you feeling so far, Luna Aurora? Are you experiencing any symptoms like nausea or exhaustion?" she asked in a kind yet professional manner. I paused, then said quietly, "I'm tired, extremely tired, and there are moments when I feel weird." I shrugged, not knowing how to describe it. She took notes as she nodded. "That's typical, particularly at this stage of pregnancy. You're experiencing numerous changes in your body. Just be sure that you are looking after yourself. Avoid stress as much as you can, eat healthily, and get enough sleep. Stress harms the unborn pup." I nodded as if she seemed to be speaking to someone else rather than me. Dr. Miller, after pausing briefly, gave me a serious look. "Are you going through any emotional changes? Are you feeling anxious or moody?" My throat tightened as I opened my mouth to respond. I had the sudden urge to talk, but I had no idea why. Even though it was the last thing I wanted to say, but I felt like there was a kind of burden pressing me down, a burden I wanted to get rid of. With trembling voice, I blurted out, "It's not the alphas, baby." Dr. Miller did not appear surprised, but her eyes softened. I saw something pass through her eyes, and I cared less what it was. She gave me a sympathetic look as she carefully put down her clipboard. "I understand," she said as if I was crazy, and she understands that it was the pregnancy stress and hormones that were making me spill rubbish. "Luna Aurora, don't worry. If you choose not to, you are under no obligation to explain anything. You are not alone in this, though, and I want you to know that. No matter what, the pack will be there for you." A knot formed in my throat, and I briefly thought crying. I was not going to say it, to ask her to keep it a secret. She can talk if she wants, but I hadn't even meant to say those words. However, the pain in my chest had been hot and hard and suddenly became unbearable. With a broken voice, I muttered, "I don't know what to do. This wasn't what I expected. I think I'm just overreacting. I shouldn't be telling you of my problems." I sniffed and looked away. Dr. Miller's face softened even more, and her eyes were comforting and kind. "It is okay to feel overburdened. Burr, you don't need to stress yourself at the moment," she said. "Luna Aurora, take it one step at a time. You should concentrate on the baby and your health right now. It's what counts." I nodded while trying to contain the tears that threatened to fall. But the uncertainty, the fear, and the confusion were all too much to bear. I had wanted to remain composed and strong, but I was at that point where I was unsure of how to be anything but vulnerable. "I didn't mean to get into this mess," I said in a shaky voice. "You're not in a mess," Dr. Miller said. "Just because your situation is complicated doesn't mean it's a mess. Luna Aurora, you should just relax. You have supportive people around you and you are strong. Keep that in mind. Although I felt a little more at ease, the emptiness still existed within me. I still didn't know what to do about Callum, the baby, or anything else. Although a part of me feared it would never happen, I wanted to think that things would improve and that the suffering would eventually subside. Dr. Miller got up and smiled at me. I'll arrange for routine checkups and ensure you receive the proper vitamins. I promise to be there for you during this. The hole in my chest still felt too big to fill, but I nodded, thankful for her generosity. I experienced an odd range of emotions as I walked out of the clinic. I was terrified and confused, but I was also surprised by something else. There was a glimmer of promise. Even though her words were straightforward, Dr. Miller's kindness had served as a reminder that I wasn't alone in this. But I knew that the most difficult part was still to come as I made my way back to the car. Callum, the baby, the future. I had no idea how to connect it all, and nothing made sense. If there was something that Dr. Miller had made me understand was that I shouldn't worry. I opened the little water bottle in my hand and took a gulp. It could help at least. I rubbed my belly and smiled at the little pup I was carrying. If only I could find that stranger I had a one-night stand with months back. Then my life could take a different turn, at least. The secret. As I left the clinic, the air seemed heavier. Even though the sun was shining on my face, I didn't feel any better. Every word I had said to Dr. Miller was being replayed in my mind. Every step I took was accompanied by the realization that the baby wasn't Callum's. A familiar figure was leaning against the car parked outside the hospital entrance, and I froze. Greta. She was here, of course. She always seemed to show up when I least expected her to, as if she were waiting for me to vanish in the dark. She was smiling, but it wasn't a warm one. No, she had that smile that made you feel insignificant, as if she knew something you didn't want her to know. With a mockingly sweet tone, Greta asked, "Did you enjoy your little checkup?" I was unsure of how to react. My heart was pounding as I simply stood there. Everything around me seemed to have stopped moving, and the only sound left was her voice. "You know, I heard some interesting things," Greta added, moving closer, her eyes shining. "You may be expecting, but Callum is not in love with you, as we both know. And the baby." She pointed at my belly. "Isn't Callum's very funny?" Her words were like a blade slicing through me. For a brief moment, I allowed her to try to get under my skin. I could feel her words pressing down on my chest. Then another thing struck me. I hadn't told anyone about my conversation with Dr. Miller, so how could she possibly know? I hadn't even spoken it aloud, much less admitted it to myself. I tried to piece everything together as my mind raced. Given that the clinic's walls weren't really soundproof, could Greta have heard me? I hadn't thought about the chance that someone might hear because I had been so engrossed in my feelings. Anybody but Greta. She was the type of person who always managed to come out like a villain. I felt a knot in my stomach at the thought. I would be in big trouble if she had known the truth, and if the whole pack knows too. I had never felt more vulnerable in my life than I did when I thought that she would use it against me. With my hands shaking, I got the car door opened and went in while she stood there smiling at me. I turned to face the driver and tried to steady my breathing. I needed to know if Greta had stayed long enough to hear anything. She couldn't have this much control over me. No, not right now. "Excuse me," I said in a voice that sounded tiny even to myself. "When was she here?" Without hesitation, the driver's gaze remained fixed on the road in front of him. "She only showed up a short while ago, Luna, just as you went in." My stomach dropped and my heart pounded. It didn't matter that she hadn't been here the whole time. She would have heard every word of my conversation with Dr. Miller if she had stayed long enough. I was in trouble. Greta wasn't the type to simply forget things like these. Until I was forced to give up, she would torture me with it. And I wouldn't allow that to happen. I inhaled deeply, trying to calm myself. I had to remain in charge. I had to act as if she didn't frighten me and that I wasn't affected by this. But inside of me, I was shaking. I forced a smile to hide fears when I came back home to find out that Greta had followed me. Did you have fun? I asked as I got down from the car. Do you find it all that interesting? Greta grinned broadly as if she had achieved an unsaid triumph. Oh, please don't act indifferent. You know that I know already, Luna. Her eyes glistened with a lot of glee. I felt my hands clenching into fists and my heartbeat quickening. My voice was barely above a whisper as I lied. I have no idea what you're talking about. Greta snorted and folded her arms across her chest. Oh, don't act so innocent. I know about the baby. I'm aware that it's not his. But you're still his love, so it doesn't really matter, does it? You will always come in second. I'll always be his choice. I spat. Shut up, slut, she said. One after the other, her words carved deeper and deeper into me like a blade. I wanted to scream and tell her to leave, but I was unable to control myself. I was risking too much. I had to be calm. Greta, you're so shameless. I began trying to keep my voice steady. She cocked her head as if she was observing me. Whatever, but yes, I am smarter than you realize. A cold shiver went down my spine. I was clueless about what she knew and how much she understood. My heart thumping in my chest, I looked back at the car. I had to go to my room before I said something I would later regret. But Greta wasn't finished yet. She moved forward and blocked my path. With a low, menacing tone, she cautioned. Don't think for a second that you can keep playing your little game. I own Callum. You only just a diversion, and when he discovers that this child isn't his, he'll kick you out of the pack. Even though her words made my blood run cold, I was quiet watching her yap on. I forced a smile after taking a deep breath. With a firmer tone, I said, Greta, I'm not playing any games, but you should keep in mind that he is not yourself. I'm not either. I caught a glimpse of something flickering in Greta's face as her eyes narrowed. She wasn't expecting me to talk back, but I was not going to give up. No, not right now. I turned and spoke steadily to the driver. Take the car to the garage and take a day off. I tried to calm myself as I got into the pack house, but my thoughts were racing with doubt and anxiety. I was unsure of what would happen if Greta knew what I had told the doctors and tell everyone in the pack. I just knew that I had to stop her from winning. I couldn't allow her to rule me. Before it was too late, I needed to figure out how to stop her. Banquet. Greta. The following day came more quickly than I expected. I had prepared myself for the evening by thinking about what would happen for hours. It was expected to be the year's most anticipated event, a lavish banquet. The leaders of nearby packs, Callum's inner circle, and the pack members themselves would all be present. I could hear the murmurs already. His new mate Aurora, the woman who had abruptly taken over everything, would be present. But I had a plan. She would discover Callum's true identity tonight. I raked my fingers through my hair as I stood in front of the mirror. I needed to look flawless so that nothing could go wrong. Staring at me, the dress I had selected, it was sleek, black, and elegant. I was skilled at drawing attention and starting conversation. I wished I could spend so much time by Callum's side tonight, but Aurora was just something that stood in my way. Imagining how I would make her cry tonight made me smile at my reflection. She was unaware of what was going to happen. Tonight would be the beginning of her downfall. The sounds of people hurrying around the pack house became more audible, and the banquet preparations began. I left my room and walked casually through the hallways. It didn't need me to hurry. Aurora would keep Callum so preoccupied that I could blend in and wait for the perfect opportunity. The staff was already setting up long tables with crystal glasses and fine china when I arrived at the grand hall. The whole space was glistening with wealth. It was everything I needed and everything I had ever dreamed of. But I had a persistent thought in the back of my mind. Callum. He was supposed to be mine and I his Luna if I hadn't traveled to study. I still felt anger twisting inside of me every time I thought about Aurora. I hated the fact that she had caught his eye. I didn't like the way he treated her as if she was the one he had always desired. It was unfair. This wasn't how it was meant to be. I forced the thoughts out of my mind. Tonight I would show Aurora her place. As scheduled, the banquet began and the guests began to arrive, smiling broadly and nodding courteously to one another. As I walked into the hall, I could feel people watching me, but it made no difference. I would take back the spotlight that had always been on me. I saw Callum standing near the main table, looking like the strong, handsome alpha he was. He appeared even more handsome than usual because he was wearing a nice-looking suit. When his gaze finally settled on me after scanning the crowd, a faint smile tugged at the corner of his lips. I was ready to strike. But Aurora entered and smiled at him, and my face reddened. Despite being simpler than mine, her soft, elegant gown gave off the impression that she was frail and delicate. Callum wrapped his arm around her waist, with his possessive hand hovering just above her hip. I felt a mixture of anger and jealousy tighten my chest at the sight. He treated her as if she were everything to him and his entire universe. I was tempted to scream, but I remained silent, smiling to hide my feelings. Tonight I was going to remind everyone of the real queen. As soon as Callum saw me, he moved to my side without hesitation, his presence overwhelming. He smiled at me, and for a moment I thought that he would come to me, but instead he got up the stage. "Everyone, I'd like you to meet my mate Aurora," he said. The way he gazed at her as if she were the fulfillment of all his desires made my heart burn. "She is my Luna, and she has exceeded my expectations in every way." Really? He was now speaking from two sides of his mouth. A knot started to form in my stomach, and I could feel my face harden. His remarks were so sincere and charming. Although it didn't make sense, he was displaying his love for her to the world. How could he have feelings for someone other than me? Aurora smiled a little, obviously overjoyed at the attention. I could see the anxiety in her eyes, even though she was making an effort to remain calm. For now, she couldn't compete with me. She would soon come to understand it. The audience mumbled their congratulations, and I kept a close eye on the couple. Even though Aurora was grinning, I could tell that she wasn't entirely at ease with the attention. Callum's hand was still securely around her waist, but there was something strange about their posture. After everything, and the ground was open for people to dance, I walked to her, to make sure she knew exactly where she stood. I strolled past them, putting a gentle hand on Callum's shoulder as I headed to the drinks table. He gave me a blank look for a moment before returning his attention to Aurora. I made an effort not to show the pain or the coldness in my eyes. I looked over at the bar and saw the bartender pouring a drink for a lady. I knew that people were watching me, but I didn't care. The goal of tonight was to pass a message. I caught Callum and Aurora having a quiet conversation. She was listening carefully and leaning in, but I could see that her expression had changed. Whatever they were saying was none of my business. My goal was to teach her a bitter lesson tonight. Aurora looked at me as I slowly walked up to her. "Aurora, you look so beautiful tonight," I said. My voice was brimming with honeyed sweetness. "But don't settle in too much. I had to pretend that I was drunk to finish what I started." "I've had Callum all my life. You are cool for a brief diversion." Her eyes widened, and I saw the panic rising for a moment. She couldn't hide her face from Mem. I smiled at her, hoping it would follow her around all night and remind her of that. "You might have his name, but his heart will always be with someone else, and that's me," I said, and burst out laughing, staggering a lit. Aurora blinked, gasping for air, but she remained silent. She was wise enough not to try to fight me. I looked one last time at her. This was just the start. She would know who was in charge by the end of the evening. "What if I tell everyone your secret?" I laughed hysterically. "What are you talking about?" Aurora asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The baby," I said. "I would tell everyone that the baby isn't for Alpha Callum." Secrets exposed. As soon as Greta speaks, I stop moving. Callum doesn't have the baby. The air in the room gets thicker and everything stops. My legs feel like they're going to fall off. Now every eye is on me and each look burns into my skin. I can hardly hear the whispers in the dining hall because my heart is beating so fast. My throat tightens and fear claws at me. Callum's grip on my waist gets tighter. His touch is no longer warm, it's cold and hard. Slowly, he turns to face me, his expression unclear, but his eyes, those usually warm, safe eyes, are hard, narrowed into holes. His voice is low and tense as he asks, "Is it true?" I shake my head, but no words come. My mouth feels dry, like sandpaper. How could she know? How could Greta possibly know? I never told anyone. No one could have known about that night. Greta steps closer, her smile wicked and triumphant. She's loving this, rejoicing in the chaos she's caused. Her look stays on me, daring me to deny it. "You thought you could hide that from him, from all of us?" she says, her voice dripping with pleasure. I feel like I'm being suffocated, the weight of her charge squeezing me from all sides. I can hear the whispering of the pack, soft but rising louder with every second. Shock, curiosity, judgment. They're all here, watching, waiting for me to crack. I can feel their denial, their suspicion. Callum's grip on my waist tightens, grounding me in the moment. But the anguish in his eyes is apparent. He's waiting for me to say something, anything, to explain. But what do I say when I don't know how to defend myself? Callum quickly spins me to face him, his hold now more demanding, more intense. "Aurora," he murmurs, his voice a deep growl, "I need you to tell me the truth. Now." His eyes seek mine, searching for answers, but all I see is the uncertainty beginning to sneak in. Doubt in myself. Doubt in us. Tears boil in the back of my eyes, but I swallow them down, unwilling to shatter. "It's not like that," I add, my voice wavering. "Callum, please, you have to believe me. She's lying." But even as I speak, I see the glimmer of uncertainty on his face. It's a knife to my heart, twisting horribly. The guy who pledged to defend me, to be by my side no matter what, is now doubting me, all because of her. Greta's voice bursts through the quiet again, sharper this time, like a razor slashing through the tension. "Why don't you tell him about that night, Aurora? You know, the one with that stranger? Oh, wait. Callum, you may want to pay attention to this part." Her comment struck me like a blow to the belly. My knees nearly give way, and the room appears to revolve around me. My heart stutters violently, and I can't breathe. How does she know about that? How could she possibly know? The crowd's murmurs become louder, more intrigued. The air is heavy with the pack's expectancy, and I can feel their eyes all over me, waiting for my reaction. Callum's jaw clenches. His face is harsh, like stone, unreadable, but he remained calm, his eyes never leaving mine. He's waiting for me to speak. I can't let this continue. I won't let her break my world apart. My body shakes with a combination of rage and terror as I take a stride forward, squaring my shoulders. "Greta, you don't know what you're talking about," I snap, my voice trembling but forceful. She laughs, a harsh, mocking sound that sends a shudder down my spine. "Oh, I know more than you think, Aurora. How do you believe you got up here? Do you truly think that was simply fate?" Her words hit deep, twisting within me. I feel nauseous. What does she mean by that? What more does she know? There's something more, something broader than simply this allegation. I can see it in her eyes, the way she carries herself, like she's concealing something more, something worse. But before I can grasp anything, I feel Callum's eyes scorching into me again. I look to him, hoping, praying he'll stop this, that he'll believe me. But his eyes are steely, calculating. He's not looking at me like his mate right now. He's looking at me like a problem he needs to solve. "Enough!" His voice bursts across the room, stopping everyone in an instant. I shudder at the sound of his voice, the assurance in it. He turns to the group, lifting his hand as if to stop them from talking. This is not the time or place for these accusations. His speech is calm, but there's a tempest rising behind his eyes. We will deal with this later. But I can tell the damage has already been done. The pack is observing me with judgment in their eyes. Their Luna is standing charged, and no one will forget this night. Even if Callum attempts to hush the whispers now, I know they'll spread like wildfire. I don't know how I'm going to survive this. As the supper slowly resumes, the tension doesn't lift. I try to hold myself together, but it's like every step I take is heavy and tougher. I feel Greta's stare on me like she's still savoring her triumph. She's won tonight, and we both know it. Callum walks away from me without another word. His footsteps resound in the hall, each one crushing my heart a bit more. He doesn't glance back. I'm alone, completely and completely alone. I look around, but no one catches my gaze. The pack, the folks who previously looked up to me as their Luna, are now turning their backs. Whispers persist behind my back, harsh and ruthless. In their eyes, I'm not their Luna anymore. I'm simply a lie, someone who doesn't deserve their allegiance. But I refuse to break. Not yet. Greta may believe she's won, but I won't go down without a fight. I don't know how she found out about that night or what else she's planned, but I won't let her murder me. There's something more to this, something she hasn't disclosed yet, and I'll figure it out. Just as I turn to depart, a faint murmur strikes my ear. Meet me at the edge of the forest at midnight. There's more you need to know. I whirl around, but there's no one there. The hairs on the back of my neck stand on edge. Who said that? What could they know? My heart races, the weight of the unknown crashing down on me. The reality of my history is unfolding, and someone knows more than they're letting on. But who? And how far does this lie go? There's more to this lie than I realized, and now I'm being lured into a perilous game where secrets are deadly and no one can be trusted. Midnight confessions. The woods seem odd tonight, darker, colder. As I approach into the open, the trees tower around me like calm, watchful entities. Moonlight floods through the trees, producing lengthy shadows on the ground. Every crunch of the dry leaves beneath my feet feels too loud, like it's advertising my existence to whatever is out there. My breath fogs in the frigid night air, and my heart pounds in my chest. The words from earlier still resonate in my head. Meet me at the edge of the forest at midnight. I don't know who I'm meeting or why they want to see me, but I couldn't stay away. Not when I'm so desperate for answers. The truth about Greta, about Callum, I need to know what's truly occurring and who's behind all of this. The wind rustles through the trees, sending a chill down my spine. Every sound seems exaggerated in the calm, every snap of a tree, every whisper of the wind. I wrap my arms over myself, trying to remain warm, but it's not simply the cold making me tremble. It's the terror, the uncertainty. What if this is a trap? What if whatever called me here planned to harm me? But I can't think like that. I have to be strong. I've gone this far, I can't back down now. An unexpected rustling sound knocks me out of my thoughts. My body tenses and I twirl around, scanning the darkness. My pulse thumps in my chest as my eyes dart from shadow to shadow, seeking the source of the disturbance. Then a figure steps out from the dark. I stiffen, my breath freezing in my throat. For a brief second I think it's Callum, but no. The shape is greater and broader. My heart falls when I realize who it is. Bennett? I murmur, my words scarcely audible. I take a reflexive step back, perplexity and wrath rising up inside me. Of all the people I anticipated to see tonight, he was not one of them. He draws closer, his manner stern, even hostile. "We need to talk," he says, his voice calm yet eager. Talk? After everything? After he walked away from me? After he refused me? My sensations are a maelstrom inside me. Rage, anguish, bewilderment, and something more. Something I don't want to acknowledge. "What are you doing here?" I manage to ask, my voice is hoarse. "There's more going on than you know," he continues, his eyes examining mine. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen to anything Bennett has to say. Not after everything. Not after how he abandoned me when I needed him the most. But there's something in his voice, in the way he's gazing at me, that makes me halt. "What do you want from me?" I ask, crossing my arms firmly over my chest, trying to keep my voice steady. Bennett takes another step closer, his eyes never changing. "Greta is lying," he says, his voice firm. "She's not telling you the whole truth. There are things you don't know, mysteries about Callum and about you." His comment struck me like a punch. I shake my head, attempting to grasp what he's saying. "What secrets? What are you talking about?" "She's not working alone," Bennett says, his voice lowering to a whisper. "There's someone else pulling the strings, someone more dangerous than you think." I glance at him, my mind flowing. What is he saying? Why should I trust any of this? After everything Bennett's done, why would I trust him now? Why should I believe anything you say? I snap, my voice rising with wrath. "You rejected me, Bennett. You deserted me. You made your decision, remember?" His expression softens, a look of grief flashing in his eyes. "I did, and I regret it every day." His comments caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting him to say that. I wasn't anticipating the candor in his voice. But it doesn't alter the reality that he left me. It doesn't erase the anguish he inflicted. But this isn't about us, Bennett says, his tone more urgent now. It's about the truth. You're in danger, Aurora. You need to know what you're up against. I want to believe him. I want to believe that he's attempting to protect me, but there's too much history between us, too much suffering, and I don't know if I can trust him, not after all. Before I can respond, a deep, sorrowful howl rings through the night. My heart jumps into my throat, and my entire body tenses. Someone's coming. I can feel it in the air, the shift in the wind. It's not safe here anymore. Bennett's eyes spark with eagerness, and he grabs my arm, drawing me closer. You need to decide who you trust, Aurora, he says, his voice low and serious. Time is running out. His words send a shudder down my spine, but before I can say anything, before I can ask him what he means, he releases me and disappears into the woods, vanishing into the darkness like he was never there. I stood there alone, my mind whirling with everything he said. Greta's lying. There's someone else twisting the threads, and Bennett? Does Bennett regret rejecting me? My heart pounds in my chest, the weight of his words crashing down on me. Who can I trust? Is it Callum? Bennett? No one? The wail rings again, closer this time, and I know I need to escape. I turn and leave, my feet thumping on the woodland floor, my mind whirling with questions. Who's coming, and why do they know so much about Greta's plan? Bennett's remarks make me more confused than ever, and now I'm pushed between the truth and the falsehoods. But one thing is clear. Something considerably greater is at play, and I'm not sure who I can trust anymore. Whispers in the dark. When I get back to the pack house, the atmosphere is tense, and it feels like a jail. This environment is more oppressive and feels colder overall. Every creak of the floorboards makes me tremble, and the walls feel like they're pressing in on me. I can feel the weight of the pack members' suspicious looks as I move through the hallways and hear them murmuring behind my back. Even though I make an effort to dismiss them, the reality of what transpired at the banquet cannot be avoided. I can't breathe because of Greta's harsh remarks, Callum's cold demeanor, and the uncertainty in his eyes. Despite my best efforts to swim, I feel as like I'm drowning in a sea of uncertainty. I arrive at the stairway and begin to ascend, my legs heaving and my chest becoming more tense with each stride. After everything that has transpired, I need to speak with Callum to see where we are. What can I say, though? How can I start to sort out the mess we've got ourselves into? Knowing that I'm entering more than simply a talk, the pain in my chest gets more as I get closer to our room. Everything could change at this moment of reckoning. Callum is waiting for me there when I open the door. His eyes are frigid, his face unreadable, and his arms folded across his wide chest. The weight of everything unsaid weighs heavily on the thick quiet that exists between us. Though I don't get any closer to him, I walk inside and shut the door. It seems as though there is a chasm between us that I am unable to traverse. Callum breaks the stillness by saying, "You met Bennett, like the edge of a dagger." His voice is low and sharp. It isn't a query. My throat feels suddenly dry when I swallow. There is no use in disputing it. Indeed, I did. I can feel the wrath seething just beyond the surface as his jaw tightens. You're listening to him now? Following all that he has done to you? His voice contains a challenge, a tacit accusation that makes my stomach turn. The tension between us is intolerable, yet I don't want to fight. Not in this way. With a trembling voice, I respond, I didn't plan to meet him. However, he told me things about you and Greta. For a brief time, I believe I catch a glimpse of remorse, dread, or possibly both as Callum's eyes darken. Now you're going to trust Bennett? Callum's eyes meet mine as his voice becomes stern. After all the hardships you endured after he turned you down? Unsure of what to say, I bite my lip. Callum is not incorrect. I was injured by Bennett. When I needed him the most, he abandoned me and departed without turning around. However, what Bennett said tonight seemed genuine. He seemed to be speaking the truth. With a voice that is almost audible above a whisper, I murmur, he knows something, Callum. Something significant. I can't disregard it. Callum's eyes narrow and his face changes. And you believe that he is being honest with you? That he feels the need to defend you now after all this time? I pause. In all honesty, I have no idea what Bennett's goals are. However, what options do I have? I'm being torn apart by Greta's accusations, and Callum is also concealing something from me. I sense it. I continue, attempting to maintain my composure. He warned me about Greta. He said that someone else is behind all of this and that she isn't working alone. Callum's jaw tightens and his face hardens. Aurora, Bennett is playing tricks on you. He's attempting to cast doubt on me. I felt like I was slapped by the words. The accusation makes my heart hurt, so I move aside. And Callum, how about you? Do you also manipulate me? Since you're hiding things from me, aren't you? Neither of us says anything for a moment. I can feel the thin thread of trust holding us together coming apart, and the quiet between us is deafening. Callum's eyes soften, but not by much. His voice drops as he moves closer. I'm attempting to keep you safe, Aurora. You still don't fully understand some things. I can't tell you everything, though. Not quite yet. I shake my head, a feeling of frustration rising within me. Callum, I'm sick of being in the dark. How can I trust you if you won't be honest with me, even though you keep saying you're protecting me? I detest how my feelings are leaking out and how I'm showing him how wounded I am, and my voice breaks. But I'm at my breaking point. The burden of all the secrets, lies, and betrayals is too great. Anger flares in Callum's eyes, but before he can react, there's a loud bang on the door. Both of us are startled by the sound, and we just stand there looking at the door for a while. Who is that? With my heart pounding, I whisper. With his palm hanging over the doorknob, Callum approaches the door as his expression tightens. His voice is strained as he murmurs, "Stay here." However, I am unable to. Not in light of everything that has transpired. Not when I already have a lot of doubts. I take a step forward as Callum unlocks the door, my heart racing. One of the pack's guards stands in the doorway, his eyes wide with terror and his face pallid. The guard stutters, his voice trembling. Alpha. There has been an assault. Not only does the knock on the door offer news, but it also portends danger. Everything is about to change as an attack on the pack takes place. Uninvited guest. The knock at the door resonates through the room, crisp and urgent. My heart quickens as Callum tenses alongside me. His entire body turns rigid, and I can feel the abrupt change in the air. Without a word, he marches straight to the door, his motions rigid, as if ready for whatever lies on the other side. I swallow hard, watching him. Whoever is knocking at this hour, it's not good news. I can feel it in my bones. When Callum opens the door, one of the pack members stands there, breathing hard, his face pallid in the low light of the corridor. Alpha, the pack member breathes, his chest straining with each breath. You need to come to the conference room. Now. Callum's expression shifts swiftly, his eyes narrowing with dread. He gives the pack member a quick nod, then turns to me, his gaze focused. Stay here, he says, his words quick, leaving no space for dispute. But I can't simply stand here, waiting in the dark while something dreadful is occurring. Callum, what's going on? I ask, my voice trembling, even though I attempt to keep it steady. I'm coming with you. No, he responds fiercely, leaning closer to me. This isn't your fight. You remain here where it's safe. I shake my head. I'm not going to hide while you face whatever this is alone. My voice increases with the desperation I feel, but Callum's jaw clenches, his displeasure clear. He stares at me for a time, his eyes softening, almost as if he wants to say something more, anything that would help me understand. But instead, he merely sighs, running a hand over his hair. Fine, he mutters, turning back toward the hallway. But stay close. I follow close behind him as we make our way into the pack house. The halls are dark, the weak light from the moon sneaking through the windows and casting long shadows on the floor. There's a weight in the air, a tightness that clutches my chest with every step we take. Something is wrong. I can feel it deep in my stomach. The calm around us is oppressive, the weight of whatever is coming bearing down on me. My pulse beats faster with every stride, terror resting in the pit of my stomach. Callum walks fast, his expression bland, but I can see the stiffness in his shoulders, the way his fists are clenched at his sides. He's on edge, and that just makes me more apprehensive. Callum, I whisper, my voice barely heard in the empty corridor. What do you think is happening? I don't know, he adds without turning to look at me. His voice is rough and short. But whatever it is, we need to be ready. I nod, but I'm not sure how I'm meant to be ready for something I don't comprehend. The uneasiness gnaws at me, but I shove it down. Now isn't the time to let fear get the best of me. I need to remain strong. We round a curve, and the door to the conference room looms ahead. My heart quickens. Something waits for us in that room, something I'm not sure I'm ready to confront. As soon as we reach the conference room, I freeze. The image before me is worse than I could have imagined. Greta stands in the middle of the room, surrounded by the elders of the pack. Her presence is dominant, her grin devilish, as if she's been waiting for this particular moment. The light from the candles surrounding the room creates odd shadows on her face, making her appear even more sinister. Her eyes meet mine, and the chilly sneer on her lips sends a shudder down my spine. She seems like she's loving this, enjoying the mayhem she's about to wreak. "Ah, Callum," she says pleasantly, yet her tone is everything but, "I've been expecting you." Callum moves closer, his face steely, his words frigid. "What the hell is going on here, Greta?" Greta tilts her head slightly, her eyes glinting with delight. "Oh, Callum, you should know by now that nothing remains concealed for long in this bundle. It's time for the truth to come out." Her focus swings to me for just a second before she looks back at him. The truth about her. My heart stutters, terror wrapping itself around my neck like a rope. What is she planning? What does she know? Callum's jaw clenches, and he takes a step closer to Greta, his words low and menacing. "What truth are you talking about, Greta? Stop playing games." Greta chuckles, the sound bitter and nasty. "Oh, this is no game, Alpha. I'm merely here to reveal what's been kept in the dark for too long." Her eyes turn back to me, and her grin expands. "Shall I start with you, Aurora? Or would you rather I talk to Callum first?" My stomach churns, and I involuntarily take a step back, my hands shivering at my sides. "What are you talking about?" I manage to utter, my voice barely above a whisper. Greta takes a stride toward me, her grin never cracking. "I'm talking about secrets, dear, the ones you've been concealing so desperately, the ones that might ruin all you care about." My blood runs cold. "I haven't been hiding anything," I answer, but even I can hear the fear in my voice. Greta lifts an eyebrow, her gaze sarcastic. "Oh, are you sure about that?" She glances at the elders, who are watching us with rapt attention, waiting for the bombshell she's going to deliver. Callum comes between us, his voice like steel. "Enough, Greta. If you have something to say, say it, but don't you dare attempt to pull Aurora into this." Greta's eyes shine with glee. "Ah, the protective mate. How lovely, but I'm afraid your little Luna isn't as nice as she seems." I feel like I'm going to get ill. What is she talking about? What could she possibly know? Callum's hands tighten at his sides, his words dripping with wrath. "Greta, I'm warning you. Stop this immediately, or I'll—" "You'll what, Callum?" Greta interrupts her words, oozing with venom. "Throw me out? Strip me of my title? You can't accomplish anything without the support of the elders. And right now, they're more interested in hearing what I have to say." Callum's eyes narrow, but he doesn't respond. The room is heavy with apprehension, the air virtually shaking with the weight of what's about to unfold. Greta turns to the grown-ups, her voice smooth and confident. "You see, the truth is, Aurora isn't just hiding things from Callum. She's concealing something from all of you. Things that might damage this whole pack." I feel like the earth is sliding out from beneath me. What is she going to say? What are you talking about? I manage to inquire, my words scarcely audible. Greta's eyes glitter with triumph. "Oh, you'll find out soon enough, dear. But first, let's make sure everyone is listening, because once the truth gets out, nothing will ever be the same again." Greta's bombshell is approaching, and the falsehoods she's concealing might rip the group apart. But what exactly is she attempting to uncover, and how far is she willing to go to ruin Aurora's life? Greta's move. "I think the pack deserves to know who their Luna truly is." Greta's voice oozes with malice, her words hanging in the air like a blade ready to strike. My heart stops. Time seems to freeze, and I can feel every eye in the room turn toward me. My breath catches in my throat, and I automatically take a step back, my body shivering with the weight of the charge. What is she talking about? What truth does she feel she has? I look to Callum, hoping for some comfort, but his eyes are fixed on Greta. His expression is inscrutable, but I can see the stiffness in his jaw, the way his hands tense at his sides. The silence in the room is suffocating, and I can feel the walls closing in around me. I don't know what you're trying to do, Greta, but you're lying, I say, my voice weak but forceful. You're trying to turn the pack against me. Greta's smile grows chilly and nasty. Oh, darling, I don't need to lie. The truth will cause enough damage on its own. Callum steps closer, his stance stiff, looming over Greta with an intensity that sends shivers down my spine. He's barely holding back his rage, and I can feel the raw energy pouring off of him. He appears like he's ready to tear her apart. You're walking a dangerous line, Greta, Callum continues, his voice low and ominous. Think carefully before you speak. One bad action and you'll rue it. For a minute, I thought Greta may back down. The air between them is thick with tension, and Callum's presence is suffocating like a storm waiting to erupt. But Greta doesn't move. She holds her ground, her grin getting broader, her eyes blazing with wicked enjoyment. I'm not the one who should be careful, Callum, she says, her voice soft as silk. I think it's Aurora who has a few things to answer for. Don't you agree the pack needs to know the truth about their Luna? About what she's been hiding from all of us? My blood runs cold. My mind races as I try to figure out what she's getting at, but nothing makes sense. What could I possibly be hiding? Callum takes another step forward, his eyes flaming with rage. Enough, Greta. You've done enough pain enough. I won't let you stand here and spout lies. Greta tilts her head, her grin never breaking. Lies? Is that what you think this is? She flicks her gaze to me, and I feel like she's stripping me bare, revealing every secret, every fear I've ever had. Why don't you ask your precious Aurora about the baby? The room turns deathly dead. The word baby echoes in my mind, twisted like a knife. My body goes numb, my heart hammering in my chest as terror fills my veins. No, she can't mean. Callum's entire body falls immobile. His head jerks toward me, his eyes wide with amazement, and something else. Something dark, something I can't decipher. What is she talking about, Aurora? His voice is low, but there's a frightening edge to it. The room looks like it's shrinking, the weight of his attention crushing me. I open my mouth, but no words come out. I'm drowning in confusion, despair, shame. Things I don't even grasp. Baby? What is she saying? I don't know what she's talking about. I finally manage to choke out, my voice barely above a whisper. Callum, I swear. But before I can continue, Greta giggles, a piercing, taunting sound that slashes into me like a blade. Oh, please, Aurora, don't play foolish. You know just what I'm talking about. I shake my head, tears scorching my eyes. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish, but this is insane. Greta crosses her arms, her attitude disdainful. I'm just helping you get ahead of the truth. You should thank me. Callum's eyes are still locked on me, and I can feel the uncertainty seeping in. I can see it in his eyes, in the way his hands are slowly unclenching, like he's no longer sure what to believe. Callum, you can't seriously believe her. I beg, getting nearer him. She's trying to tear us apart. You know that. But Callum doesn't move. His face is hazy, his eyes clouded with uncertainty. Then tell me, Aurora, he says, his voice low and tense. What is she talking about? Is there anything I don't know? My stomach twists. No, of course not. She's lying, Callum. She's doing this to damage me, to hurt us. Greta takes a step closer, her voice a whisper that cuts through the air. Are you sure, Aurora? Think carefully. You wouldn't want to make problems worse by lying to your spouse, would you? I feel like I'm about to become unwell. My hands quiver at my sides and the room starts to revolve. What does she know? What could she possibly have on me? Callum turns to Greta, his words sharp. Enough. If you're going to accuse her of anything, then say it. Stop playing games. Greta's smile is sickeningly sweet, her eyes gleaming with glee. Oh, Callum, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm only pointing out the obvious. She looks at me, her eyes icy. Isn't it strange that you never knew about the baby? The room feels like it's closing in on me. My heart pounds in my chest, my breath's coming in short, terrified gasps. My vision blurs with tears as I gaze at Callum, pleading for him to believe me. I don't know what she's talking about, I say, my voice shaking. Callum, please, you have to believe me. But Callum's look is still hard, still guarded. The uncertainty is there, chewing at him, and I can feel it pushing us apart. He takes a step back, his eyes never leaving mine. I need the truth, Aurora, he adds, his voice low and furious. I can't protect you if I don't know what's going on. Tears run down my cheeks, and I feel like the world is crumbling beneath my feet. I'm telling you the truth. There's nothing, Callum. She's lying. Greta's laughter rings out again, icy and cruel. Oh, Aurora, you really should be more careful with your secrets. They have a way of coming out, whether you want them to or not. I feel like I'm going to fall. Everything is coming apart, slipping through my fingers, and I don't know how to stop it. Callum's eyes harden, and he glances back at Greta. What's your angle, Greta? Why now? Greta shrugs, her grin fading into something more nasty. Because it's time for this pack to know who they're following. You can't hide from the truth forever, Callum. Neither can she. Will Callum defend me in front of the council, or will the distrust Greta has sowed take root, taking away everything we've built? The council's decision. I feel as though the room is closing in on me. I fear that everyone can hear my heart pounding so loudly against my chest. The elders of the council stand in front of us, their eyes darting between Callum and me, their faces unreadable. It is oppressive to feel the weight of their quiet. I try to maintain a consistent breathing pattern while standing motionless, but my mind is racing. Greta has sowed doubt in everyone's mind, and I can sense it spreading like poison. I'm not sure what her strategy is. The council elders exchange glances, their faces tense as though they are considering their next words. I'm aware that they're waiting for Callum to speak, and for the Alpha to reveal his allegiance, whether it's to me or whether Greta's false charges have gained traction. I can't force myself to look at Callum, even though I can sense his rigid, immobile presence next to me. My entire universe seems to be precariously perched on the brink of an uncontrollable event. At last, one of the elders says, "Alpha," in a controlled tone. This accusation is grave. The pack is entitled to openness. My knees feel like they could give out under me as his words strike me like a kick to the gut. Openness. Like I'm concealing something. As though Greta's statements were true. To defend myself, I open my mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. Fear has choked my voice, stuck in my throat. What if I'm not believed by Callum? But what if this is it? I have faith in Aurora. I can sense the effort beneath Callum's firm, steady voice as it breaks through the dense tension. Relief and doubt tangle inside me, causing my heart to falter. For an instant, I see the man I believed I knew, strong, protective, my mate, when I dare to look at him. He faces the elders and takes a step forward. His words are like iron, and his jaw is clenched as he speaks once more. All you need to know is that Aurora is my partner. Greta's assertions are untrue. I had a glimmer of hope for a moment. He is standing up for me. He is supporting me. We might be able to make it through this. But doubt still permeates the room. The elders don't appear to be persuaded. As though Greta's poison had also taken root in their brains, their eyes remained cautious and unsure. A woman with silver hair and keen eyes, one of the elders, squints at Callum. Alpha, the pack needs stability. Trust is one thing. We must ascertain whether these charges are true. This cannot be disregarded. Callum answers sharply and angrily, I'm not ignoring anything. However, just because someone is attempting to cause trouble, I won't put up with lies. I can feel the weight of the elder's gaze as her eyes dart toward me. And you, Luna? Do you need to share something with us? My mouth is as dry as sand, and my throat gets constricted. I sense that every eye in the room is blazing at me, waiting for me to snap under the strain. I struggle to maintain a steady voice as I gently shake my head. I manage to say, there's nothing to tell, but my voice falters a little. Greta is telling lies. She is attempting to destroy us. Greta laughs softly and mockingly, her eyes shining with ill intent. With a chilly, razor-sharp smile, she advances a step. Oh, Aurora, you are an actress, don't you? Fake sincerity permeates her speech as she looks at the elders. That's the problem with secrets, you see. Whether you like it or not, they have a way of getting out. Her remarks give me the chills. She is not done yet. I sense it. Her game is not over yet. Anger flaring in his eyes, Callum steps at Greta. Enough, Greta. You've done enough harm. I refuse to allow you to continue spreading false information. Greta's smile never wavers. Lies? You don't know your Luna as well as you believe, Callum, do you? The fear is eating away at me, causing my stomach to churn. What plans does she have? What else does she believe she is aware of? But before I could respond, Greta pivoted on her heel and began to move slowly and deliberately in the direction of the door. With the same arrogant expression on her face, she stops in the doorway and looks over her shoulder. For the time being, she continues in a gentle yet menacing tone, I'll let you continue your joyful little act. But keep in mind, Callum, secrets tend to surface, and the pack will undoubtedly have a lot of questions when they do. She leaves after that, and the door softly clicks shut behind her. What does she know, though? And to what extent will she go to ruin us? A covert friend. I sit by the window and gaze out into the darkness in a room that is almost too quiet. The pack house grounds are illuminated by a spooky glow as the moon remains low in the sky. Each of my ideas pulls me in a different direction as they whirl like a hurricane. Callum, where are you? What's on his mind? Does he think Greta is real? Or does he still have faith in me? I try to contain the fear that keeps sneaking up on me by wrapping my arms around myself. It feels like the foundation is giving way under us after everything we've been through and all the times Callum and I have struggled to stay together. Since the council meeting, I have not seen him. There seemed to be something he wasn't saying based on the tightness in his eyes as he gazed at me. He wasn't prepared to acknowledge it. I rest my head on the window's cool glass and close my eyes. How can I trust him, even though I want to? How can I trust anything when Greta's lies are looming over us, and there are so many unsolved questions? Even though my room's door is closed, I still feel as though the walls are closing in around me. I feel like I'm stuck. My heart leaps when I'm startled by a knock on the door. I leap to my feet, half thinking it's Callum. Perhaps he has returned at last, prepared to speak and provide an explanation. However, it's not him when I open the door. Startled to discover my best friend standing in the corridor, I exhale. Mia. She has a serious, almost urgent look on her face, and it makes me anxious. She looks down the corridor as if to make sure no one else is seeing, then asks softly, "May I come in?" I nod and move out of the way to let her in. My thoughts are racing once more as I try to figure out why she is here at this hour. There is a problem. I sense it. Mia enters and shuts the door behind her, then turns to look at me. Her posture is tense, and her eyes have a severity that makes me shudder. "What's happening?" I ask, hardly raising my voice above a whisper. She pauses as though considering what to say, and then sighs deeply. "Aurora, you need to know something." Unspoken danger permeates the air between us as the weight of her words lingers. My heart is thumping in my chest as I swallow forcefully. This is the first time Mia has ever looked at me with such concern. "What is it?" With a weak voice I ask. "What should I know?" As if to confirm that we are alone, Mia looks back toward the door before taking a step toward me. She speaks in a low voice that is hardly audible above a whisper. "Greta is not working by herself. Someone else is there. Someone from the flock. A traitor." Her remarks were like a kick to the stomach. My mind spinning, I blink. "A traitor? Within the group?" Mia grimaced as she nodded. "Earlier tonight, I heard her conversing with someone. Aurora, I'm not sure who it was, but they were organizing something that works against you." I take a step back and attempt to take in what she's saying as my breath catches in my throat. However, why? Why would any member of the pack wish to turn on me? Although Mia's face softens, her eyes still have an uncomfortable expression. I'm not sure. However, Greta was speaking as though she had been working with this individual for some time. This has been in the works for a while. As her words sink in, I am sick to my stomach. Greta is being assisted by a member of the pack that I trust, assisting her in destroying my life. The next time I speak, my voice breaks. "Have you listened to anything else? Do you know who it could be?" With a look of frustration on her face, Mia shakes her head. "No, I didn't have enough time to hear everything." However, Greta referred to the right time as if they were anticipating the ideal opportunity to present itself. My legs feel like they can no longer support me, so I collapse into the bed's edge. "This isn't possible," I murmur, more to myself than to Mia. How was this accomplished by a member of the pack? In what way could they have betrayed us? Mia puts a reassuring hand on my shoulder and moves to sit next to me. "I'm not sure, Aurora. However, you must exercise caution. This individual, whoever they are, is dangerous. They have already overreached themselves." I gently nod while attempting to control my feelings, but on the inside, I'm collapsing. Within the pack, a traitor. Greta is collaborating with an internal source. My world seems to be falling apart, and I'm not sure who I can trust anymore. However, I'm the target, and everything I've fought for and everything I care about could be destroyed if I can't identify this traitor and stop whatever Greta is planned. Mia gives my shoulder a light squeeze and gets to her feet. Softly, she adds, "I'll keep my ears open. You will be the first to know if I hear anything else." I force a flimsy smile. "I'm grateful, Mia. Without you, I don't know what I would do." I'm left alone once again as she exits the room, shutting the door behind her, with my mind racing and a brand new, horrifying query. Why are they pursuing me, and who is collaborating with Greta? A dangerous game. A traitor? I whisper, hardly able to form the word, let alone understand its significance. My chest tightens, making it harder to breathe, as the seriousness of what Mia just imparted finally settles me. The room suddenly feels cooler, the air thicker. A traitor in the pack. Someone is working with Greta to destroy me. I feel a cold shudder run down my spine as the reality takes hold. Greta, with her twisted smirk and ambiguous warnings, wasn't acting alone this entire time. I believed her anger toward me was personal, born from jealousy, resentment, but this is something far worse. Someone is aiding her from within, feeding her information, arranging a strategy to take me down. Mia watches me, concern etched on her face, her usually sparkling eyes shadowed with worry. "I know it's hard to believe, Aurora, but you need to be careful." Her voice is quiet, barely above a whisper, as though she worries the walls may hear her. Whoever it is, they're close, too close to Callum. The weight of her words hits me like a ton of bricks. My gut twists painfully as bile rises in my throat. Close to Callum. Someone he trusts. Someone who has been around us, probably for months, even years. I search my head, trying to imagine who it could be. Who would disrespect their alpha like this? Who would betray me? I turn away from Mia, pacing across the room, my hands tugging through my hair in frustration. Why now? Why would they do this? It doesn't make sense. What's changed? Mia steps toward me, her words calm but packed with desperation. "I don't know. I overheard Greta chatting to someone, but I couldn't see who it was. They were talking about something large, Aurora. Something daring. You're at the center of it." I stop moving and turn around to face her, my heart thumping so loudly it drowns out everything else. "Why me? Why does it have to be about me? It can't just be jealousy or some petty dispute with Callum. There has to be more to it." Mia shakes her head slowly, her lips pushed into a tiny line. "There is more. I'm sure of it. Greta wouldn't go this far just to make you suffer out of jealousy. No, this feels like something deeper, something calculated." I can feel the fear growing inside me like a storm, threatening to take over. My mind races, grasping at straws, trying for any hint as to why Greta would wish to wreck my life. But nothing makes sense. Nothing fits. Doubt swirls in my consciousness, tainting all I thought I understood. If Mia's right and deep down, I know she is. Then the threat isn't simply Greta. It's someone else, someone lurking among our pack, someone who is feeding her information and planning behind our backs. The idea that this rogue could be an adversary not only to me but to Callum too makes my heart hurt. How long have they been doing this? How deep does this lie go? I feel terrible just thinking about it. I hold Mia's eyes, attempting to keep my voice firm despite the shivering I feel inside. "You said they're close to Callum. Do you believe he knows?" Mia glances at me with sorrowful eyes, the type that know too much but wish they didn't. She hesitates for a while, biting her bottom lip before speaking gently. "I don't know, Aurora, but if Callum does know, then he's concealing it from you, and that's what terrifies me." Her words slash into me like a knife. The very concept that Callum may be keeping something so enormous from me, that he might be hiding something so dangerous, it sends a rush of nausea rolling through me. I've trusted him with everything, and now I don't know what to believe. I don't want to think that he's involved, I mutter, more to myself than to Mia. But what if he doesn't even realize what's happening? What if he's being influenced exactly like I am? What if they're using him? Mia's face furrows, deep in concentration, before she answers. It's possible. It's hard to say for sure. But Aurora, we can't take that chance. You need to protect yourself. You need to find out who this opponent is before they strike, before it's too late. Her words lay over me like a heavy blanket. She's right, of course. I can't afford to wait and see what happens. I need to act. I need to discover who this person is, and I need to do it fast. My heart quickens as the weight of it all pushes down on me. Time is running out. I can feel it. But how, I ask, my voice a soft plea. How can I find out who's betraying me when I don't even know where to start? Mia draws closer, her expression soft yet resolute. Start with the ones closest to Callum. The ones who've been around him the most. Someone's hiding in plain sight, Aurora. You only have to watch closely and pay attention to the minor details. People slip up eventually. I nod, though my body feels heavy, weighed down by the sheer expanse of what I have to undertake. The thought of doubting the people around me, people I've eaten meals with and fought alongside, it makes my stomach churn. But I know Mia's right. I can't let my sentiments impair my judgment, not when the stakes are this high. The walls of my room seem to shut in around me as I think of the faces of individuals who've been closest to Callum. His loyal soldiers, the council members, even some of the pack leaders. Could one of them be the traitor? Could one of them be giving Greta information supporting her scheme? Mia examines me closely, her words lower now. I know this is hard, but you're not alone, Aurora. You have me. We'll work this out together, okay? I flash her a little weak grin, but the anxiety twisting in my chest doesn't diminish. Thank you, Mia. I don't know what I'd do without you. She squeezes my arm gently, her touch warm and soothing. You're stronger than you think. We'll get through this, I promise. As she leaves the room, the silence that follows is unnerving. I'm left alone with my thoughts, my concerns, and the overwhelming sense of dread that refuses to leave. The traitor's name stays unknown, but one thing is evident now. Time is running out. Whoever this guy is, they're preparing something major. Something that could ruin me, destroy Callum, demolish everything we've achieved. I can't afford to sit back and wait much longer. Greta's next move might be disastrous, and if I don't figure out who's working with her soon, it might be too late. But while I sit there, lost in the solitude of the room, one question gnaws at me, louder than all the others. Who can I trust? Because if the person closest to Callum is capable of fooling him, betraying us, then I'm truly on my own, and in this perilous game, one wrong move could cost me everything. The accusation. The morning sun rushes through the window, putting a gentle golden light over the room, but the warmth does little to break the chilly tension between Callum and me. He's sitting at the edge of the bed, his shoulders slumped forward, his back turned to me. I can sense the divide between us more than ever. It's been like this since Greta's assertions, since the council meeting that left everything hanging in the air, unspoken, unanswered. I want to reach out to him, to tell him everything that's churning in my head, but the words clog in my throat. How can I persuade him of the truth when even I'm not sure what's happening anymore? Callum, I began, my voice barely above a whisper. He doesn't turn around. He doesn't even move. His stillness stings deeper than any words ever could. I swallow hard, trying to force down the knot of irritation that's building in my chest. We need to talk. Finally, he rises, but his actions are sluggish, almost robotic. When he turns to face me, his eyes are foggy, distant. About what? His voice is low, filled with fatigue. I take a deep breath, gathering whatever courage I can find. About what Greta said, about everything. You've been distant, Callum. I can feel it. He lets out a loud sigh, putting a palm over his face. Greta said a lot of things, Aurora. Things that... He fades off, shaking his head as if he can't bring himself to continue the sentence. My heart tightens terribly in my chest. You don't believe her, do you? I ask, my voice tiny and frail. You can't. He glances away, his mouth clenched, and the stillness drags on for what seems like an eternity. I don't know what to believe, he eventually adds, and the phrase seems like a hit to the belly. I take a step closer to him, my hands trembling. Callum, you know me. You know me. How can you possibly accept the thought that I would lie about anything like this? That I would conceal anything this essential from you? He sighs again, this time with more fury. It's not just about you, Aurora. It's about everything. The pack. The council. Greta has planted doubt, and now it's not just you and me. It's larger than that. I shake my head, reluctant to believe that. It doesn't matter how big this is, what matters is the truth. And the reality is that I haven't lied to you. I haven't damaged you. His stare eventually finds mine, and for a minute I see the fight in his eyes. But just as swiftly as it appeared, it's gone again, replaced by the same wall of separation that has been developing between us. I don't know if the truth is enough anymore, he replies gently, almost to himself. Before I can respond, there's a strong tap at the door. The scream resonates through the tight quiet between us, and I turn to find one of the pack leaders standing there, his expression gloomy and inscrutable. My stomach sinks. Aurora, the older says, his tone courteous, even distant. The council needs to speak with you. I gaze at Callum, my heart racing in my chest. His face is bland, giving nothing away. I turn back to the elder, my voice trembling. What is this about? The elder's eyes shift to Callum for a brief while before settling back on me. The council has decided to investigate the claims that have been made regarding your pregnancy. We need to determine the truth. I pause, the weight of his words washing over me like a great wave. The council is probing me? My mind rushes, attempting to absorb what he just said. Greta's statements were awful enough, but now this is so much worse. The council possesses the ability to ruin lives, rip apart families, and exile anyone they consider worthless. My throat tightens, and I can hardly get the words out. What claims? I haven't done anything terrible. I haven't lied. The elder's expression remains dispassionate, as if he's heard it all before. That remains to be seen, Aurora. The council will do a complete inquiry. Until then, we ask for your complete cooperation. I feel like the earth is sliding out from beneath me, that everything is whirling out of control. I gaze at Callum again, hoping, praying, that he'll say something, that he'll stand up for me. But he doesn't. He simply stands there, mute and absent. How can you investigate something that's not true? I manage to ask, my voice shaking with disbelief. The elder's stare tightens slightly. The council has a responsibility to the pack. We cannot tolerate any uncertainty, particularly when it comes to the future of our leadership. Uncertainty? I repeat, my voice rising louder, more urgent. There is no uncertainty. This is all because of Greta. She's trying to destroy me. The elder's face doesn't alter. The council will take everything into account. We'll be in touch. With that, he turns and exits, his footsteps booming down the corridor. I stand there, trapped in place, my heart thumping so fast I can scarcely think. The council is investigating me. How am I going to establish my innocence when even Callum appears to disbelieve me? The weight of it all seems crushing. I turn to Callum, my eyes blazing with unshed tears. Are you going to say anything? Or are you just going to stand there while the government tears our lives apart? He doesn't reply right away. He just stares at me, his face unclear, and for the first time I understand that maybe I've already lost him. I don't know what you want me to say, he eventually mutters, his voice scratchy. I want you to believe me, Callum. I want you to fight for us. My voice breaks as the tears flood over, but I don't care anymore. I'm anxious for him to understand, to see how much this is hurting me. Callum runs a hand through his hair, glancing away from me again. It's not that simple, Aurora. This isn't just about you and me. The council. They have the authority. We have to let them do their job. His remarks seem like a smack in the face. Do their job? Callum, they're treating me like I'm guilty, like I'm some sort of danger to the pack, and you're simply going to stand by and let it happen? He doesn't respond, and the quiet between us seems like a wall, becoming thicker and more impenetrable by the second. I shake my head, my chest trembling with a combination of rage and grief. You're supposed to be my mate. You're meant to trust me. Callum's jaw clenches, and for a second, I think he may say something, but then he simply turns and walks out of the room, leaving me standing there, alone and devastated. As the door shuts behind him, I feel the weight of the world pushing down on me. The council is probing me, and even Callum appears to suspect my innocence. How am I going to fight against this? How can I prove the truth when the ones closest to me don't even believe in it? I slump into the bed, my hands trembling, my heart aching with the crushing anxiety of what's to follow. If the council believes that I'm guilty, if they accept Greta's falsehoods, everything I've constructed, all Callum and I have fought for, will crumble. And worst of all, I'm beginning to worry whether I've already lost the one person I thought I could always depend on. The council's probe is going to rip everything apart, and I don't know how much longer I can hang on. The choice of Callum. The silence between us is oppressive. Even though Callum should be at my side, there's a chill in the air that makes me feel cold. He moves with deliberate, steady steps, yet I can sense the tension leaving him. Every step reverberates through the deserted hallway, and I can't get rid of the feeling that we're approaching something hazardous and unavoidable. My mind is racing, and I keep staring at him in the hopes of finding a sign or something to break the silence. However, Callum remains aloof, his eyes fixed on the future, his face expressionless. It feels like a stranger is strolling with me. He stops when we finally get to our room's door, resting his palm on the doorknob but failing to open it. Rather, he gently turns to face me, and the expression in his eyes makes my stomach turn. Something is there, but it's hidden and out of my reach. He continues, Aurora, in a steady, low voice, but I can hear the gravity in his tone and the weight of what he is saying. Do you think I'm trustworthy? I have to remind myself to breathe when the question hits me like a kick to the gut. Have faith in him? My intellect is full of questions, but my heart is shouting yes. Given how distant and aloof he has been, how can I trust him? He won't even look me in the eye half the time, so how can I trust him? I feel the knot in my throat getting bigger as I swallow forcefully. I answer, Of course I trust you, but it sounds weak and flimsy. Even if I believe them, I'm not sure. For a brief while, Callum's eyes dart around as if he's searching for something in my face. Then he nods to himself and exhales deeply. Good, he adds, but his tone is unconfident. He looks away from me, his mouth clenched as he runs a hand through his hair. I can't help but see how worn out and anxious he appears to be. However, I'm not sure if it's fatigue or something more profound. He speaks again, this time in a stronger tone before I can finish speaking or ask the questions that are consuming me. Then let me take care of this. I blink in shock. What do you handle? What are you saying? He hasn't looked at me yet. His gaze is fixed on a distant location down the corridor, as though the solution to every issue we face lies beyond our reach. His voice is strained as he replies, The council, the investigation, everything. I'll see to that. A surge of annoyance rises in my chest. How can he say it with such ease, as if it were just another issue to be resolved, as if he could just wave his hand and make this whole thing disappear? However, my voice increasing in desperation, I ask, Callum, this cannot be fixed by you alone. They are questioning me. They believe I've told lies. They will rip me to pieces, and I have no idea how to defend myself because I have no idea what they are searching for. At last, he looks at me, and for a brief instant, I notice a glimmer of emotion in his eyes. Angry, frustrated, perhaps even afraid. However, it vanished as swiftly as it appeared, to be replaced by the same icy mask he had been donning for days. He reiterates, I said, I'll handle it, in a firm, uncompromising voice. Aurora, you must have faith in me. Let me take care of this. It sounds more like an order than a request because of the way he says it. And I detest it. I detest the fact that he ignores me and makes decisions without consulting me, treating me like a player in a game I don't even comprehend. You have my trust? I repeat, my voice trembling. You keep saying that I should trust you, but how can I do that when you refuse to communicate with me? Callum, you're hiding stuff from me. I sense it. His face tenses up as he does. With clenched teeth, he declares, "I'm not keeping things from you." I shake my head, my annoyance erupting. "You are indeed. You've been chilly and aloof. You no longer communicate with me. When you behave in this manner, how can I be supposed to trust you?" His jaw twitches, and I briefly fear that he may strike out or engage in combat. But instead, he simply turns away from me, his back rigid. His voice is low as he continues, "I'm doing what I have to. I'm acting in your best interest, for us. I think I've been struck. What's best for us?" How can he believe that the wisest course of action is to keep me out? What makes him believe that keeping me in the dark is beneficial? He goes quickly and abruptly toward the door and opens it before I can react or even comprehend what's occurring. One more time, as if the conversation were coming to an end, he replies, "I'll handle it." I stand there dumbfounded and heartbroken as he leaves without saying another thing. I struggle to catch my breath while standing in the center of the room with the door open and my chest heaving. The weight of everything seems to be bearing down on me at once, as if the walls are closing in around me. Greta, the investigation, the council, and now Callum. How could things have gone so bad so fast? How did we get to be on opposing sides of this impossibility? I try to relax by lowering myself onto the bed's edge, my hands trembling. However, the more I consider what Callum said, the more doubt creeps in. When he keeps so much from me, how can I trust him when he says I should? He claims to be acting in his best interests, but what if he is mistaken? What if he is concealing something that might endanger our lives together? I can feel the doubt eating away at my already frail resolve. I'd like to think he's real. I wish I could trust him again. However, there is a dark, whispering part of me that is unable to get rid of the sensation that something is seriously off. I try to ignore the ideas by closing my eyes, but they persist. Callum is not telling anyone. I can feel it in my bones, but I have no idea what they are. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to trust him again because he has kept something from me. The fact that I'm not sure if I can stop him, however, is the worst thing and the thing that worries me the most. He has already decided. He has made the decision to deal with this alone, and I don't think he will let me in, no matter what I say or how much I plead. Never in my life have I felt so alone. A chilly realization hits me as I sit there and stare at the empty doorway where Callum just left. Callum is lying to me and making decisions behind my back that could alter everything. Furthermore, I'm not sure if I can still trust him. He has always been devoted to me and us, but I'm not so sure now. I fear that when the truth eventually surfaces, it will be too late since something sinister and perilous is shifting between us. There is not much time left. Callum is retreating as the council closes in. But can I rely on him to keep me safe? Or will we be torn apart by his lies? Unwanted visitors. It's already late. The shadows outside have lengthened, and the air seems thick with the weight of unspoken things. I've been pacing the room for the last several hours, thinking about Callum, the council, and the probe. Everything appears to be getting out of control. There is an odd quiet in the home that makes me feel nervous all the time. But it's the only thing that's stopping me from busting up. I need this calm and quiet right now. Yet then I hear several voices outside, muffled yet distinct. As I move closer to the door, my body tenses up and my pulse beats faster. I push my ear against the wood, hoping to make out the words, but they're too faint. Still, I recognize those noises anywhere. Alicia and Cassandra were the last individuals I imagined would show up here. My sister and mother-in-law. As I hang on to the door handle, my stomach begins to pain. It makes my heart beat when I open the door and see them standing there like a nightmare dream come true. Alicia's golden hair gleams in the fading light, her lips twisted into a lovely grin that makes me feel terrible. And Cassandra, standing behind her, sporting that same phony kindness she usually wears when she's plotting anything. "What are you doing here?" I ask, my voice chilly as I take a step back, suppressing the impulse to slam the door in their faces. Alicia is the first to speak, her voice oozing with phony seriousness. "We came to apologize, Aurora," she adds, advancing forward like she's entitled to breach that border into my territory. Her tone is soothing, almost too soft, as if she's attempting to lull me into some feeling of safety. But I know better. I know Alicia. Apologize? Apologize for what? The question hovers in the air, but I don't utter it out. I simply gaze at her, trying to keep my expression cool, but inside, I'm boiling. Really? I say, folding my arms over my chest. Apologize for what exactly? Alicia's blue eyes widen slightly as if she's wounded by my mistrust. For everything, she adds, her grin never cracking. For the things we said before, about you and Callum. We didn't want to offend you. Her remarks are honeyed, too sweet, too prepared. My belly twists in loathing. This is a game to her, a power move as always. She understands how to influence people and how to make them think anything she wants. But not me. I won't fall for it. Behind her, Cassandra stands calmly, her black eyes examining me attentively, calculating. She hasn't uttered a word yet, but I can feel her glare, icy and harsh. She's always been the quieter one, more threatening in her quietness. She's here for a purpose, and it's not simply to apologize. I gaze at them both, my rage surging to the surface. I don't want your apology, I snap, taking a step back into the corridor. My voice is louder than I intended, but I don't care. I don't have time for their falsehoods, their games. Not now, not when everything is coming apart around me. Alicia's grin falters, but only for a second. She tilts her head, giving me that innocent expression she's developed over the years. Aurora, we just want to make things right, she adds quietly, taking another step forward. We're family. Family. The term makes my blood run cold. Family? They've never treated me like family. Not once. Not after my father died, and especially not when Cassandra married into the pack. They've always been out for themselves, constantly seeking for ways to pull me down, to attack me. And now they want to pretend like they care? I tighten my fists at my sides, suppressing the temptation to lash out, to shout at them for all they've done. But I know that's precisely what they want. They want me to lose control, to give them the pleasure of witnessing me crumble. Well, I don't want anything from you, I answer between clenched teeth. So if you're done, you can leave now. But they don't leave. Of course, they don't. Instead, Alicia's grin widens again, as if she's delighted with my reaction, as if she anticipated it. Come on, Aurora, she adds, her voice taking on a mocking tone. We know you're upset, but we're here to assist. You're in a horrible circumstance, and we simply want to make sure you're okay. Help? I giggle, crossing my arms. You don't care about me. You're just here because you believe you can get anything from this. Cassandra eventually speaks, her voice low and controlled. You're wrong, Aurora, she whispers, advancing nearer, her black eyes riveted on me. We're here because we do care. We've always cared. The lie falls from her tongue so effortlessly, so quickly that for a second I nearly believe her. Almost. But then I realize who I'm dealing with. I narrow my eyes at her. Don't lie to me, Cassandra. I know you too well. She shrugs, her expression unbothered. Believe what you want, but you should know that the government is monitoring you carefully today. They're not going to be as forgiving as you may hope. Her words send a shiver down my spine, but I don't let it show. I can't let them realize that they've gotten to me. Alicia and Cassandra exchange a look, and I see it the plan, whatever it is, formulating in their minds. They're here for more than simply to apologize. This isn't about making peace or trying to care. This is about something far greater, something that might undermine all I've been striving for. I swallow hard, my heart hammering in my chest. I need to discover out what they're up to before it's too late. But one thing is obvious. Alicia and Cassandra's entrance heralds the beginning of something dreadful. Another plan, another game, and this time, I don't know whether I'll be able to stop them.